Have you ever taken on a job, not really got a job description? Sounds like something I would do at the Financial Enhancement Group. That's why we have a chief operating officer and a human resources person to help me now. I would hire great people like Grant, bring them in and not really tell them what to do. Just kind of figured out that they knew how to do it because they were smart and they cared about me. It sounds a lot like an executor or a trustee of a trust where you name people that you like, people that are smart, people you trust, but they really don't have a job description. If you understood, more importantly, if they understood what they had signed up for, when you name them the trustee or your trust or an executor, they might be scared and quit before they ever accepted the job. Don't let that happen to you. Join us on Consider This program today. We'll talk about the obligations and requirements of executors, trustees, and successor trustees. Good morning and welcome back to Consider This program. I'm your host, Joe Clark.
I'm Grant Sullivan.
Hey, when you show up and you get a job, you just really want to know how to do well, right? You want attaboys, you want kudos, you want to know you're doing the job. There is nothing like showing up and not knowing what people really think about the work, or more importantly, what it is you're even supposed to do. There is probably no bigger, and I mean this in sincerity, there's probably no bigger miscommunication that exists in a job role or title than that of an executor in a will or a trustee of a trust. People will merely name people that they like, trust, and typically they're their kids. People that have no experience, no understanding, and no rationale for what is expected of them if they are to become the trustee or executor of your legal documents. And yet you're dead. You're gone. You're not even there to give them any direction or advice. So what happens? Well, they either come to our office and we try to read the documents and give them direction, or they go to an attorney who tries to read it and go there. Folks, there's no reason for that. Let's make this as simple as we can. I spent the COVID year, 2020, building a trust division at the Financial Enhancement Group where we're able to serve as a successor trustee, where we're able to work with your kids for them to be able to work with the life issues, and where the Financial Enhancement Group is able to help you with the financial issues, the fiduciary duties, if you will. Do not leave your kids with roles and responsibilities that they don't understand and probably don't even want. I brought Grant Soliven in today. He's one of our senior advisors at the Financial Enhancement Group. He's going to walk some of this stuff through with you just to give you some things that you might want to consider.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe. And this topic, Joe, I'm going to apologize up front because I may get you a little fired up. I know how much you've been spending on this topic alone with incremental incapacitation, but also just the trust and estate documents themselves. But when it comes to the theme, and the theme for us is battle plan, right? Prepare, prepare, prepare. Estate documents, in my opinion, are the number one area that families do spend a lot of time and resources building, and they never communicate to anybody until you get that phone call and, oh, hey, Grant, by the way, you're the executor of your mom's estate. This is attorney so-and-so. And those conversations are really hard. And so let's take the plan and the preparing you've done to get these documents created and take it to the next level. To make sure that, like Joe said, you're not handing a job description to your loved ones that's going to cause them immense stress and pain down the road. And we see it often. The worst case scenario is when you get that call and all of a sudden you're in charge of mom and dad's estate and there's these lists of rules and obligations you have to follow and you were not abreast of the situation at all.
Yeah, it's if you think about it if you think about your trust as the foundation, your house, it's like buying a house and never painting it, never dusting, never sweeping, right? Never fixing some of the repairs and where I'm trying to take that with this. Tax codes change, your life changes, right? When I wrote my trust, the kids were in their single digits. Now, one's almost 30. If I hadn't have updated it, it would be in bad shape. And I haven't seen this, Grant, for a long time. It was probably the mid-2000s, but the life insurance industry put out a report that said 68% of beneficiaries were dead. Just think about that, and they know they were dead because they paid death claims. But they don't have a mechanism to send you an email and go, by the way, Kim's no longer with us. Grant, you should change the beneficiary. You'd think they would do that, but that's just not the process in terms of where they are. So it's you need to build the foundation. You want it to be good, but it needs to be kept, right? You need to do the upkeep on it as the tax code changes, as your life changes. Things are happening inside of that all the time.
I think it's a great analogy, Joe, and I may actually start using it in the future. I think that's very well done. When it comes to communicating who that is, there are individuals that you can put in the estate documents to take care of your estate or your trust at your passing. The executor. When you hear executor, I want you to think normal will. Executor or executrix, as if you're going to keep the genders. So when it comes to an executor, they're the ones closing your estate. Traditionally speaking, in Indiana, for example, one of the largest assets that did not go into a trust was your house. People thought, I'll put it in the will and we'll have it go through the will, go to my kids. And so oftentimes people forgot that, it has to be probated. The executor of the trust, executrix, has to take care of all this stuff. It's a big responsibility. Most people think, mom and dad are gone. I'll just be the executor, clap my hands together, get the job done, and assets are now in our hands. This process, if you're an executor on a will, can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months to complete. And there's a list I have here from an attorney of the responsibilities that go into it, and you can see it's a page long. So when you're giving out these duties to your family members, make sure that you're communicating what the expectation is and the amount of burden they're going to have, because like Joe said, some people would have rather walked away because it's a big responsibility.
And they do walk away, folks. And that's if you're one of those people that have been wrapped with this, right? So a trust really goes through, and a will's a little bit different, but a trust really goes through 3 stages. It goes through what you have as a normal grantor trust, which is what I have now. And I call it the hokey pokey for those of us that are in our 50s or older. Remember on the roller skate, you can stick your left leg in, shake it all around, pull it out, right? That's what you can do with the trust. You can put assets in, pull it out. There's no tax complication. There's no issues. There is a period of time when I die, obviously, when the trust becomes irrevocable. It means nobody can change my wishes. Whoever that successor trustee is now has to step in to fulfill the stated obligations, the stated objectives that are inside of that trust. But there is a middle phase that typically happens where I am, by definition, mentally or physically incapacitated. I am still probably making decisions on my own, but I shouldn't be, right? And one of the things that we created was a mechanism to help your kids deal with that issue, to say, hey, mom, dad, you can still figure out where to go on vacation, but you're going to lose this role or responsibility. Grant alluded to it in incremental incapacitation. That's what it means. You don't fly off the cuckoo's nest in one day, right? It's typically a slow ride where you lose just a little bit of your capacity. And so what we're building and working on is a system that does a couple things, but one, it helps your family, help you understand when there's decisions you shouldn't be making, though you can still make other decisions. And what happens right now, for the most of the time, successor trustee powers are nuclear options, where one day I can do anything and the next day I can do nothing. People are just very, 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 very slow to act in that, because nobody wants to put their parents through that. If you, by chance, have been given the role of a trustee, or that your parents have that role and there's a trustee, we are happy to help. We will help you go through the existing document you have and separate the powers, the responsibilities. So in my case, Barb and my 2 daughters are responsible for what I call life issues. If I need to go to the hospital, if I need to change a doctor, if I need to change where I live for my own safety, those kind of things, my funeral, those are the life issues. The fiduciary issues, the financial enhancement group is responsible for. So in most trusts, you have a trustee that's responsible for both, because you like your kids, hopefully, and trust your kids, hopefully. You tend to name your kids. Some people will name a bank because they know that they shouldn't name their kids, but they don't know the trust officer of the bank. The bank doesn't know who they are, right? And all of a sudden, you've got somebody fulfilling your goals and objectives without really knowing who you were. I think that's a mistake. Everybody that we take care of, we want to know face to face, eyeball to eyeball, and we want to really know what's on your heart and where it is. And it is a family affair, but we want to make sure that these plans are executed correctly.
And to segue on top of that, Joe, we've had families often give us feedback on the trust division. Well, Joe, why can't it be my children? Why would FEG even consider building this? Now, obviously, you've done a great job of walking through some of the responsibilities, but folks, here's the deal. We've seen families break up over this responsibility because sometimes you don't know it. Money does weird things to families. And what Joe has done with his heart in this issue is not only trying to help with incremental incapacitation, but he wants your families to enjoy Thanksgivings and Christmases together. Meaning, if there's a trustee who's a child that's labeled as a trustee, they're also a beneficiary, but their siblings are also beneficiaries. That can create significant tension. Here's the other thing. The trust division is helping our families protect their families not only from marital issues, there's alcohol conflict, creditor issues. We can go into the emotional interest, marital situations that arise. I mean, there's so many reasons, valid reasons, you don't want to have your beneficiaries, mainly sometimes your heirs, your children, to be the trustee to protect themselves from each other, to protect themselves from certain credit issues. And here's the other key: to help them maintain and help them understand when things change in the estate tax law or income tax law, there's a fiduciary there, a team there that can help them make the adjustments along the way as well. And this is one thing I love about what Joe's created with his trust division, is we're not handing it to some individual in New York or California who's never going to meet you and expect them to take care of your beneficiaries. It's something that we have sat down and said, who are you? What does your estate look like? And how do we honor and take care of you and your beneficiaries along the way?
And this is really where that collaboration comes into play. So again, cooperation is somebody says, go do this, and they do it. And that's what happens in most financial relationships. Either the CPA is in charge, or the financial advisor is in charge, or the attorney's in charge, and they tell people to go do other things. Well, the reason we have 38 people on our team at the Financial Enhancement Group is because I recognize everybody has experience in different areas and different arenas. So Grant and I'm the managing partner, and I can tell Grant to go do things and he'll do them, but we prefer to collaborate where we're working together, where it's got his best ideas and my best ideas. That's really what we do with your family when it comes into this legacy planning of where it's going. Where do you really want your family to go? And in that trust division, when the Financial Enhancement Group is named as the fiduciary trustee, and you've got your kids or someone else you trust and like and know that's taking care of the life issues, it's a collaboration of people working together. That you're able to remove some of the strife and struggle between your children, especially between the in-laws, or what I like to call the outlaws, that have come into the operation. There's just so many different reasons for it. Give us a call at 800-928-4001. Go to yourlifeafterwork.com. Get signed up for a Next Steps meeting. This will be one of the conversations we can have.